Year 4, welcome back to another lesson. This is Monday's lesson. Today what we're going to be learning about is the Olympics. Now, the Olympics still happens today every 4 years, and it is an event where countries all over the world compete in different sporting events. And we have a Winter Olympics for winter sports and a normal Olympics for regular sports that don't need to take place in the snow. So what you may not know is that the Olympics was actually started by the Greeks, and we're going to look at a bit more information about how they did the Olympic Games. So let's have a look and see some more information about the Olympic Games. Okay, so the Olympics actually began over 2,700 years ago in Olympia, which is in southwest Greece. They happen every 4 years like they do nowadays, and around 50,000 people came from all over the Greek world to watch and take part. The Greek Games were actually also a religious festival, and they were held in honour of Zeus, who was the king of the gods, as you may remember from last week's work. Before the games began, messengers were sent out to announce a truce, which means peace. So any wars that were taking place would stop so people could travel safely to Olympia. So what kind of events did they have in the ancient Greek Olympics? So they had running, just like we do nowadays, and athletes ran up and down a 192-metre track in the stadium. Discus was another event they have, which we still have today, although the discus that they used back in ancient Greece was much larger and flatter than the ones we use today, and probably weighed almost twice as much. Javelin, they also did javelin, and we still do that. Ancient javelins were sharpened wooden sticks, sometimes with metal points on the end, and sometimes they had leather wrapped around them to help them spin when they threw them in the air. They also had long jump, which is the same as what we had today, but the way they did it was very different. They didn't run up and jump. Instead, they swung themselves using weights in their arms. And the ancient Greek Olympics also included boxing and wrestling, but however, these were a lot more violent and didn't have as many rules. And finally, there were also horses and chariot races in ancient Olympics. So people would compete with their horses or in their chariots to race around a track. Instead of giving gold, silver and bronze medals, winners were given a wreath of leaves and a hero's welcome back home. Athletes competed for the glory of their city, and winners were seen as being touched by gods. And sometimes the towns that they would come from would pay the winners lots of money. Now, back in ancient Greece, women were not allowed to attend the Olympic Games. Only men, boys and unmarried girls. And they weren't allowed to compete in the Olympics either, so they weren't allowed to be there. But they were allowed to own the horses that were used in some of the horses races and the chariot races. So as you can see, we still have a lot of similar things, events that the Olympics had back in ancient Greece. So your task today is to create your own Olympic Games. So I would like you to think of 5 different events that you would have in your own Olympic Games. So think about what they might be. Are they going to be similar to the Greeks? Are they going to be completely different? What would you need to do that event? So if it's discus or javelin, you would need a discus or a javelin. If you're doing a chariot race, you would need a horse and a chariot. So that is what I would like you to do. Create your own Olympic Games with 5 different events. So to create your 5 different events, you may want to write them down on a piece of paper as a poster, or you may want to type out your events, or you may want to just draw a picture of what you are going to do. So I'll show you what I did for mine. I ended up just drawing them and writing a brief description of what my events were. Now, when you're creating your events, you can make up your own Sporting events, they do not have to be real sporting events that are actually in the Olympics, but I'd like them to be something that you can do either in your house, your garden, or if you went out on a walk, you could do then. So try and make the events as realistic as possible, because later on in the week we're actually going to try out our own events that we have created. So please make them so you are able to actually do the events. I've kept my poster really simple. For my 5 events, I've just drawn a stickman picture and a brief description of each event. Okay, so the event I've come up with for mine is a skipping contest. I've got a throwing competition, I have a running race, an obstacle course and a dance contest. And I've made my poster really simple. I just needed to come up with the 5 events. So that's what I have done. If you would like to add more detail to your poster, if some of your games are a little bit more complicated and you would like to put more information so you know how to play and you don't forget what you've created throughout the week, then please do that. But mine are quite straightforward and I know exactly what I'm going to do. So please, once you have finished your work today, send it into our Year 4 email address because we really enjoy seeing them. And I hope you enjoyed doing this task. It's something a little bit different today. Bye Year 4, see you again tomorrow.